Okay, hello all. We're on to the Unit 8 quiz review, the last quiz of the year. Okay, number one, we have x to the fifth times x to the fourth. Hopefully you tried these before viewing this video and you're just checking your answers. If you have further questions, please feel free to ask me. Alright, so x to the fifth times x to the fourth, we're the um, multiplying these exponents, so we add the powers. Since we're multiplying, we add the powers. So we get x to the ninth, and that's it. Number two, we have a power raised to a power. The power of a power says that we should multiply the two powers. So that should be y to the 15th. Number three, we have a power to a power in two separate sections here. So we have 2 to the a, b, and then c cubed, which is a squared, b squared, all right, because it's the first power. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, and then c to the 3 times 2 is 6. All right, over here we have a to the third times 3, which is 9, and then b to the 1 times 3, which is 3. Okay, still multiplying, we have a to the second times a to the ninth. Remember, when you multiply, you add the exponents. So that's a to the 11th. We have b to the second and b to the third. We're multiplying, so we add the exponents. That's b to the 5th, 2 plus 3. And then c to the 6th is by itself. We just add that at the end. All right, number 4. Write with only positive exponents. All right, so we have 4x to the negative 3. Now 4 is by itself. It's not to the negative 3. The x is to the negative 3. So 4 stays in the numerator, and our rule with negative exponents, if it's negative, we move it to the denominator. If it's already in the denominator and it's negative, we move it to the numerator. So it's x to the positive 3. Alright, x is to the negative 3, so we move it to the denominator, x cubed. 4 over x cubed. Number 5, 3 to the negative 2 raised to the third, sorry. Okay, so we have a power to a power, and remember, we multiply them. So negative 2 times 3, which is negative 6. Now we have a negative exponent, so we have 1 over 3 to the 6th. Alright, let's see if we could do 3 times 3 to the 6th. Calculate that. So we're going to do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And you get 729. So 1 over 729 is your final answer. Number 6. Well, if you look at number 6, negative 5 is raised to the 0 power, and a is raised to the 0 power. Anything raised to the 0 power, remember, is 1. So this whole thing right here should just be 1. Okay? This one, ab squared, raised to the negative 3, we take the negative 3, it goes to the a, so it's a to the 1 times negative 3, and then b to the 2 times negative 3. Well, we're multiplying everything by 1. Anything times 1 is itself. Alright, so pretty much we have a to the negative 3, b to the negative 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Okay, 1 times all this is all this, so we really don't need that 1 anymore. Okay, now we have 2 negative exponents. Remember, you bring them to the denominator and make them positive. Alright, and since we don't have anything in the numerator, we're just going to put a 1. Number 7. When you divide exponents with the same bases, you subtract them. So 2 minus 7. You get x to the negative 5, and the negative exponent rule tells us that we need to put it in the denominator and make it positive. Okay. Number 8, the negative 4 goes to both the y and the x. Alright, so we have y to the negative 4, x to the negative 4. Alright, since they're both negative, the y is going to go to the denominator, and the x is going to go to the numerator, and we're going to make those positive exponents. So we have x to the 4th over y to the 4th. And we can't simplify that because they're not like bases. One's x, one's y. Number 9, x to the 5th times x to the negative 8. Remember, when you're multiplying exponents, you add them. So 5 plus negative 8, you get x to the negative 3, or 1 over x to the 3rd. Number 10, okay, we're starting to get into bigger problems. What might be a good idea is to separate them. I have 4 over 5 with my coefficients. Remember, the x is raised to negative 2, not 4, and the y is raised to negative 3, not 5. So in my answer, 4 over 5 is still going to be there. Alright, they're both raised to positive 1. They stay. Okay, and you can't simplify 4 over 5. There's no number that goes into both. Alright, x is to the negative 2. We're going to bring that to the denominator and make it positive. And the y is to the negative 3, so we're going to bring that to the numerator and make it positive. Can't simplify anything else, so there's our answer. Okay, with this one, you can just, since you're multiplying by x to the 3rd and y to the 3rd here, you could probably just put everything together and make one big fraction, okay? Because everything's multiplication. Alright, and that's what I'm doing here. The first thing you want to do is get rid of this exponent. So what we're going to do, let's change back to red here, is distribute this power, because we have a power to a power. So we have 2 to the 2nd, x to the 2nd, and then y to the 3rd times 2 is y to the 6th. And then we have an x to the 3rd times x to the 3rd. And down here we have 4x to the 4th times y to the 3rd. All I did was kind of condense this. Alright, now what I want to do is I want to separate everything. Alright, I want to take all my numbers and put them together. So I have 2 squared, and I have 4 in the denominator. Those are all my coefficients. Those are all my numbers in the problem. Okay, I have x squared, and I have times x to the 3rd right here and right here. So I'm just going to write those out, put those together, and underneath I have x to the 4th. Alright, so all my x's are together. What I'm trying to do is simplify each like term and then put it together at the end. Alright, and then for my y's, I have y to the 6th up top, and I have y to the 3rd down below. Okay? Well, with the first one, 2 squared is 4, so I have 4 over 4, which is just 1. Alright? With my x's, I have x to the 5th up top, 2 plus 3, over x to the 4th. Alright, now, since it's division, we know that it's x to the 5 minus 4, alright, which is just x to the 1st. With the y's, we could just subtract them. We have y to the 6th minus 3, which is just y to the 3rd. So I have y to the 3rd left over after I simplified x to the 1st, and I have 1. Okay, they're all positive exponents, so in the end I have 1, but you don't have to write because it's technically it'll be an invisible 1. Alright, x to the 1st, which is just x, and then y to the 3rd, y cubed. Alright, and that's my final answer right here. So again, what I did was I separated everything, your numbers, your x values and y values, simplified each, and then put them all together at the end. Let's try that with the next one. Okay. First we have a power. We have subcoefficients raised to the third power. I'm just going to get rid of that. Alright, since these are all to the first power, I do 3 to the third, x to the third, and y to the third, and then I could get rid of all this. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, put all my numbers together and all my x values and y values. Alright, and the same thing happens again here. We're just going to make this one big fraction since we're multiplying. So I have negative 6. I have 3 to the third, and I have negative 4. Alright, for my x values, I have x to the fourth, I have x to the third, and down below I have x to the third and x squared. For my y values, I have y to the sixth, y to the third, so I have here and here. I have y squared down below in the denominator, and I have another y squared in the denominator. Alright, let's simplify all this. Negative 6 times 3 to the third, which is 27, all over negative 4. Simplify this part. X to the 4, x to the 7th, x to the third is x to the 7th because it's 4 plus 3. And 3 plus 2 is 5. So I have x to the 5th. Over here I have y to the 9th, 6 plus 3. And 2 plus 2 is 4. So I have y to the 4th. Alright. Negative 6 times 27 divided by 4, or negative 6 times 27 equals 162. And I have over negative 4. Now you can't simplify this completely, but you could divide both of them by 2, because 4 doesn't go into 162 evenly. So I'm going to divide both by 2. 162 divided by 2 is 81, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I have 81 over 2. Now you might be asking me, where'd the negative signs go? Well, we know that the negative divided by a negative is positive, so we're just going to leave that positive. And we're done simplifying the numbers. X to the 7 over x to the 5th, well, remember, when you divide, you subtract the exponents. So we get 7 minus 5, and that's x squared. Same thing with the y's. So I get y to the 5th. Okay, now I'm done simplifying all three. I'm going to put it together. I have 81 in the numerator, 2 in the denominator. I have x squared, it's a positive exponent, so it stays up in the numerator. And I have y to the 5th, it's a positive exponent, so it stays up in the numerator. Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and good luck on the quiz.